Now, if you've watched this show before, you know these are colors I'm not Miss Pink person. Okay, here comes a good one. Something unexpected in the shadows. I like to put unexpected things everywhere. I don't know, you ever remember being a kid and playing with the shadows on the wall and doing little birds? Hi, welcome to Give Your Wall Some Soul. I'm Shannon Grissom. Well, today we're taking a huge departure from what we normally do. Normally we have a square canvas, we've got a structured plan of what we're going to accomplish, and you know what, today we're just experimenting. What we have this time is an oval canvas, and I'm going to take I think I want to start on a dark toned background and do a wild abstract. I do pay attention to the feedback that I get from you listeners and viewers, and so I got a few calls saying, gosh, when are you going to do another abstract? So we're doing it today, and not only are we, not only are we doing it something totally loose, totally made up, we're also doing it on a round canvas, which you just don't see very often. So what are we going to do this time that's different? Well, we're going to start with a toned canvas. It's going to be black. I'm going to take some black acrylic and just base coat the canvas first to give us a nice dark ground to work off of. So sometimes it's good to create even when you don't have a plan. Just to, I paint every single day. So just to get yourself in that mode, it's like golf, of course. I'm flicking water all over the place. It's a memory muscle thing, like when you play golf, and I know I talk about that a lot, but the more you practice, the better you do. And it's the same thing with painting. It's a good thing I didn't have paint all over that one. I just flung the water across the studio. So they've got this great floor that I messed up. So took some water and a sponge brush and some black acrylic. Why am I using acrylic? It dries really fast. So you could, whoa, oh how cool. Look at that. I mean, you just put it down and it's runny. Now normally I would do this on a flat surface, but it's not, it's a lot more fun this way. I mean, we are totally experimenting. So I'm putting the black down and just some crisscross strokes. Oh, this is juicy. Oh, I like this. Oh, that's good. Parts of it are thicker, parts are thin. And if you've watched the show before, you know that it is taped live to tape, so we don't edit. What you see is what you got. And the reason I'm telling you that is because I might sneeze. No, you just never know what's going to happen. But this is a real, honest to goodness painting experience. This is what really happens, at least in my studio. All right, so I'm taking the black acrylic and I'm coating it. And if you're doing this at home and you have no patience and you want to be able to go to the next stage quickly, you can actually take a blow dryer and as soon as you get the canvas covered and just blow dry it, and then you can paint directly over it. Why am I using acrylic for the base when I normally use oils? Oh, I like these little drips and everything, but I'm going to cover them up. But anyway, I'm using this because it does dry quickly. Now the cool thing about black is it's white is reflective, Black absorbs, so the paint's going to react differently on there. I love this. And I'm just doing some crisscross strokes because I want a little texture, something underneath, something wild going on. And the only thing that I know for sure that I want to do is the color scheme. I want to do golds, fall colors, golds and reds. Got to have the reds. And some greens, maybe some metallic. Okay, so I've got that pretty much covered. Yeah, that's good. And what I might do while I have this out, if I were in the studio, is paint the sides black while I'm there, and you wouldn't have to frame it. But I'm not going to do that now because it would just be too messy. So I'm going to set this aside. Now, when you're using acrylic, it's good to close the lid right away because it dries out really quickly. All right, so I'm going to move this over here. Get a canvas that's already dry. All right, so today it was pretty hot outside, so I just pushed the canvas out in the backyard in the sun, and by the time I was through loading to get the stuff on the way over here, it's totally dry, it's ready to paint. So you've got this really absorbent background, lots of shadows are evident, you know. You can start playing with this. You know, when you have the grandkids, you can do all kinds of shadow pictures, but it really is absorbent. So we want to change that and add some color. So what's the thing about, you know, there's all kinds of interesting compositional elements going on when you've got an oval. You know, it's literally totally outside the box. So it's like, where do you go? Well, you could do a traditional scene and make it loose and abstract it there, but today I can't stay in the lines. There are no boundaries, and so we're just going to throw color down. And I think the point of creating, you know, this is an exercise in no matter what kind of day you've had, no matter what's happened during the course of the day, and this has been a doozy, you can still create. And so sometimes it's easier to do something that's just really loose and free when you've had a lot happen. Either way, you can still create. So what am I going to do? I got some new brushes here. Oh, and they're red. Now, I didn't pick these because they were red. I picked them because they have the spring that I really love. Now, what am I going to start with? I think we need to instantly put some green here. You're probably surprised that I didn't say red. But I'm going to start with the cooler color and lay the red over the top. So I'm going to pull some sap green, straight sap green. And if I put that right over the red and right over the black, it's not going to show up that well. I'll show you. So it's not doing that much. It's very transparent. So we need some lighter color to liven this up because it's really getting kind of boring. So let me get just another brush out here and throw some gold up. Maybe some yellow ochre right next to that. There we go. Now it's not quite so happy next to this black, but once it's surrounded by other colors, it will be. So I'm going to add some more. And to me, what I want to create here is just a feeling of fall, of leaves. I'll go ahead and grit some Indian yellow. And I'm going to take my dirty brush and just move that hair. So what we're doing, it doesn't look like it did anything. So I'll add a little white to that. Better clean my knife first. There are abstract elements even in my realistic paintings. And so the way that I'm going to approach this is pretty much the same. Ooh, that's really loud. I'm going for it. So that the way I'm going to approach this is the same that I would for a realistic painting, only I don't have to stay in the lines. Some days, ooh, that's nice. Just put it down, see what happens. Need some red. We've gone too long without red. We probably painted for a whole 5 minutes here. Okay, what kind of brush do I want? I want a big one. Okay. This is definitely one of those messy painting sessions. I'm getting it all over the floor. Some days are like that. And you know, people say, do you wait till you're inspired to create? And like I said, I paint every single day. That being said, there are some days when you're more creative and more productive than others. But even on the days that are less vibrant, miracles occur. So I don't want to rule anything out. I don't wait to be inspired. But if I am, I totally act on it. Oh, look at that red. That's happy. I like that. A good example of of acting on inspiration is before the show last time we taped. Okay, you're gonna get me into trouble, or I'm gonna get somebody into trouble. But here's the deal: when I come to shoot the show, I have to we unload all of our gear, and I take my van all the way up to the top, and depending on the security guard on duty, when it's through, I might have to move my van all the way down to the bottom of the hill. And that makes me tired, and I really don't want to have to do that. But there's one security guard who's really nice, and I give him chocolate chip cookies. I mean, it's that innocent. I give him chocolate chip cookies, and he lets me keep the van up there. So Sean called up the security guard and said, hey, can Shannon stay? And he said, hey, if she's got the cookies, she can park all night. Well, I'm like, oh, that's a great song title. So before the shoot happened, we were setting up, and I just set aside, wrote this song out, and as soon as the shoot was over, I went home and I taped it. So it was a great song. We'll have to play it for you. But so if you're fired up, act on it, and really cool things are going to happen. And if you're not fired up, give it a shot anyway, because there are miracles that happen when you don't think you're in the mood. Okay, look at this. I hope I don't stand in trouble. All right, I'm going to start just contaminating. No, now, normally that's the other thing. I mix my colors, I keep them separate. But we're brush mixing them here right on the palette. Ooh, that's cool. Let's add a little more green. Right next to the red. It's Christmas time. Kind of reminds me of amoebas. Let's see, what else do I want to throw in there? Maybe some more green with a little bluer tinge. Oh, that's pretty. And a little more of this red. But I better switch brushes. At least keep those guys the same. Now I've created abstracts like this and just let them be. And in other instances, they've morphed into something else. I don't know what's going to happen here. So totally give up control is pretty huge, because I kind of like to know how things are going to work out. And I like to steer them in that direction. We're not doing that today. I'm just seeing how these look next to each other. And I have been getting great feedback from you guys. And because of that, I'm starting a blog, a Give Your Well Some Soul blog. You'll be able to find that by going to my website, shannongrissom.com. And you'll be able to post your own pictures that you have painted. And I'd love to hear your own story. So it's going to be really interactive. I'm excited about it. And there'll be all these behind the scenes footage and pictures for what happens before the shoot even starts. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So come check it out. But I can't wait to see what you're doing. Ooh, that's bright. Okay. So what else do I want to throw in there? Maybe some ochre, but maybe not quite as much. And I'm just going to get a really scruffy brush, see what happens. So normally what happens when I start doing something like this is all the guys in the studio start seeing things in the blobs. And they don't think I can hear, but they're laughing back there. So I imagine that's what's helping out there. Ooh, that's pretty. Wouldn't this be a nice fabric? Tablecloth? Ooh, I'll have to license this. Send it to my agent. Okay, we need some more, maybe a little blue. I think we can throw some blue in there. Some ultramarine. And where am I going to put it? I like it right next to the red because that's going to be happy, but I just want little touches here and there, not a lot. And of course, it's going to be happy next to that yellow. It's kind of like seating people at a dinner party. There's some people that should never sit together if you want a happy time. It's okay to have the nice, diverse people at the party, but certain people shouldn't sit together, and certain pigments don't like being next to each other either. What happens? There's usually some conflict and some loudness, and that's what happens with the pigments. They're screaming at each other. We don't want that. I like happy things here. Of course, I have a friend who likes to do that on purpose just to see what will happen. I don't like to play like that. Okay, more red next to the green. Right now, I've not blended anything together. They're just barely touching. And I had a painting teacher that looked at my painting one time and he said, "I'll bet you none of your food touches on your plate either." You can tell a lot about people by how they paint. And no, I typically don't mix all these things together. I like eating them one at a time, separate. Okay, let's see. We want some more blue over here, right next to that red. So I'm not back from this, so I can't tell you what it's doing. I have no idea. I'm just playing with the color next to each other, what's going on. And I have to tell you, the last person that emailed me about doing an abstract is Joe Calici. This man started painting after watching the show. He's 80 years old. He's now 82, and he sent me great pictures of his work. And he says, "Enough pots and pans already. Can you do an abstract?" So this one's for you, Joe. Ooh, it's like flowers and wow, man. Looks pretty cool. So if you ever, okay, because I'm not an art snob, you could do this and say, wow, what colors are in my couch? What colors are in my living room? And you could start dabbling colors all over here. And pretty soon you'd create some sort of wonderful, harmonious item that you can give your own wall some soul with in your house. I say go for it. Go for it, and the blog's going to be up soon, so send me pictures of your couch and your painting. Oh, I just love this red. Could you tell? Oh, and you know what? That little bright red is happy too. It's kind of like little flowers. I'm so organic right now. I am having trouble. My work is shifting, and I'm having trouble staying in the lines. All right, a little more blue just here. And I think I'm going to surround with a little bit lighter green. There is no other logic behind it other than it feels good. I pick colors that are all going to be happy next to each other. I think, if I were to analyze it, I'd probably have the brighter in the center, or I'd do this whole, compositional element on here. I'm not. I'm just painting what feels good. Like that. Oh, and you know what? You see kids when they're painting, and they're like, "Oh, I think I'll put a little yellow down, or I'll put a little blue, or I'll do whatever." They're not worried about composition. They're just playing. They're having a great time, and they come up with pure, beautiful artwork. I'm not saying to throw out the rules all the time, but every once in a while, you just got to get in there, get your hands dirty, and paint. Look at this yellow. Wow. A little more. I think we need some orange now. Get a new brush, kind of scruffy brush. It's going to be a little bright. Sometimes you got to do that. Is it too much? Maybe. Ooh, let's start mixing things together. Like that. More green. I can't believe I'm using so much green. Let's do a little cooler green, a little phthalo turquoise. So I'm just pouncing this on the canvas. Some places I'm just leaving the black showing through. I'm not sure if I'm going to cover it all or not. I do like what's happening here. It's like an overhead view of flowers. It doesn't match my couch, though. I have a brown couch. I have very neutral furnishings, and probably because I paint so bright, the rest of my house has to be pretty quiet. Otherwise, it's visual overload. Okay, we need some more red and some blue up there. The green's kind of taken over. I'm also varying the size of the brushes, so that adds some interest too. If I use the same brush for everything, then you'd have the same size blobs, and that's boring. Unless you're doing pointillism, and that's a whole different animal. And I don't have that's where you get the little dots and you go all over the place, and then you create these wonderful things. I don't have that kind of patience, so I want a big brush and just smash it, make something happen. Need some more ochre. Yeah, I'll keep the same brush. I'm just contaminating my mixes here. And I brought some metallic paint because I thought I might add that later. But I don't know. I may not do that. A little more blue. Blue on the edge here. I thought about adding some violet. but I think I want to limit my palette. Ooh, okay. I can start contaminating and moving into some of this yellow with the blue, creating another green. Might do that. Need to add some more red because it's been about 2 minutes since I did it before. See, there's no logic behind this. It's just whatever feels good. And I really would love to hear, when I see your blog entries, how the process felt to you to be this loose. Did it freak you out? Or was it just fun? This is wild. It's kind of like an Hawaiian floral, I don't know. And isn't it interesting that I have the intention of doing an abstract, but like everybody else, I'm always trying to make something out of it. I'm trying to make it into something. I'm trying to make sense out of it. And I got to get over my bad self and just paint. That's what I'm trying to say here, and even I am doing that. So, but people want things to look like something. Ooh, that's just wild. See, this is totally. I couldn't have planned this. That's why I like doing this. It really frees you up. Throw in a little light here. A little more green. Let's see, what do we want to do? Grab another green brush. I did hear some really cool Hawaiian music. I wonder if that's hitting me. Maybe that's where this is coming from. Wow. A little more cool around the edges. I do love the red-green. And you think about the complementary colors for the season. In the winter, what you see is red and green, and those are complements. And in the spring, you see this blue, violet, and yellow, gold. Those are complementary colors as well. So you can't go wrong painting with those. Well, you could, but it's hard. I think I need a little more blue in there. Just because it feels good, and it likes to be next to the yellow. This also reminds me of when I was a kid, they had metal TV trays, and they were black, and they'd have toll painting or something over the top of them. I can see my grandmother's house. And so now, of course, their flowers are much more defined, or they're very much defined. So it's not the actual thing, but it's that spirit that it reminds me of. Yeah, I know, I've got an imagination, but you know what? I bet you do too. You're probably seeing all kinds of things I don't see in here, and I know because I'll get emails about it. And that's why I'm excited about the blog, because not only will I be able to get the emails, you guys will be able to send me all these pictures and video. It's going to be great. That looked like a little angel, a person there. Okay, we need more red. It's been way too long without the red. Now I'm going to stop for just a second, pull this other canvas, and I was going to tell you that it's dry. Well, it's not. It's close, but it's not dry. But by the end of the show, you could paint over this. It's a little tacky right now. So that's how fast this acrylic dries. So it's wonderful to give that a nice space. And we would not have had the richness of these tones in here if we'd painted on the white surface. The wild thing to do is take that Indian, that wild Indian yellow and coat a canvas with that, and then paint something over the top of that. You have that glowing coming right through there. So one, good exercises would be to try maybe 3 or 4 different colors as a toned canvas and paint over the top of that and see what comes out. I got to get this black off of my hand before I, nobody tells me, right? I scratch my nose or my face. And by the end of the show, I've got paint up my nose, and you'd think the camera people would say something, but no, they just laugh. So I got to get it off before it gets everywhere. All right, I'm going back to red. I know I was heading that direction. They're giggling back there now. I don't know what's they can see that I can't. They'll tell me later. I know they will. Oh, you know what? It's just some of these strokes, when you put it down and they're loosely mixed, are just gorgeous in and of themselves. Wow. And this is like a crusty old brush. I'm trying to be careful not to do any pattern, which is hard. You try to make something really orderly. Or I do anyway. Okay, so let's add some more green around that. I think we could start using some more golds too. I don't really have much gold on the outer edge. I'm thinking of, should I flip this over? I was seriously thinking about flipping this over so that I would be free again on this other side. But you get a momentum going, and I don't know if I'm going to change this whole thing if I do. So, all right, heads or tails? Should I flip it over? But we had these kids in school, heads you win, tails you lose, or whatever. They would always screw me up here. Okay, tails. We'll flip it. It was heads I win, tails you lose. That's what it was. Wow, I like this upside down. That's awesome. See, I didn't see it before. That's what's really cool about turning it upside down. There's things you just don't see. Wow. This is happy. This is just happy. Okay. It's better than when it's sad, that's for sure. And I have those. We talked about that before. I have some that just don't work out. They get thrown out. In fact, I thought about doing a video. There's this old song called 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. I thought about, 50 ways to kill a painting after it's dead. And so I may put that together. But I recently threw some away. It was very cathartic. Sometimes they just got to go. There's we had to throw in a little bit of light there just because it's too much dark. What do we want, some orange? This is wild. Kind of like stained glass. Well, we need some more green again. So I'm letting the painting tell me what it needs rather than me trying to micromanage the whole process. And while I'm really, I got, right before the show started, I had green all over my nose. I don't know how that happened because I hadn't even started painting yet, but it does. Okay, I lost my train of thought here. Okay, so it's about micromanaging the process. I know I'll go back to painting realistic things. And I've always switched back and forth between abstract and realism. I like them both. And it's just fun to let yourself go. Okay, more red on the edges. And I want some warm red over here. That's nice. This is just wild. Okay, this is the first time I've ever come to the show without this huge structured plan. We're going to do this, this, and this much time into it. I'm going to show them how to do this. And they said, so what are you going to do today? And I said, I don't know. I'm going to paint an abstract. I'm just going to put paint down. Well, how are you going to do that? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to create something. And I'm glad that I'm just doing that, because that happens. I do that at home in the studio, and I've always strived to make this a realistic painting show. What really happens. So this is what really happens. Sometimes you just got to experiment. I love that quote from Kobe Yamada that says, sometimes you just have to take the leap and build your wings on the way down. And I'm like, flapping today, boy. Okay, I like that. Let's just really turn it again, just because. Even sideways. Can't be too sideways. Okay, now the reason it's not up like this, and the reason I'm not painting it like this, because it takes very little to knock it over when you have an oval. And if you've ever tried to paint, because I've done portraits on ovals, I actually built a little jig. Well, I didn't build it. My husband built it for me to keep it from rolling off. But before I had the little jig built, duct tape works really well. Oh, we need some like lime brighter green. So I'm going to pull some of this over. Do I want to add a little white? Just a little bit of this yellow. Let's see, I'm actually mixing some color. And you know what? That's ugly. That's like so bad. I'm going, you know what? That was the logic going in and saying, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. I'm going back. Sorry. Forgot where I was for a minute. I am going back to my old methods here of just brush mixing. See, I was getting too logical. Logic's overrated. Let's just get messy and dirty, and there we go. Yep, that's what I wanted. Wow. I'm going to have a field day with this one. I know I'm going to get emails about what they see in here. Wow. Okay, what do we want? Some dark, a little bit of dark green. And I'm going to have to turn it again, because if I don't, I'll forget and it's going to fall over. It'll scare me. And I might say something inappropriate. Okay. There we go. Love that bit of green there. Not sure what should reach out to touch these other colors. So let's see. Let's try some green right on the edges. Right next to this red, because I just love that. And I'm going to throw some blue with a little bit of white, just a touch, because I want it to sing. Ah, yeah, see, it needed a little, it was just a little too dark. Ooh, I like that. Okay, that's the thing. You start putting a little bit there, and then you think, well, if a little bit is good, a lot is better. Not always. So I'm just going to use a little bit, and touch up add a little light in some of these dark blue areas, just because. Oh, that's nice. Okay, now I have to stop. Somebody stop me. Okay, I did. Oh. Maybe just a little more blue over here. There. All right, let's go back to the green before I make it too loud. There's got to be some gold in there. I will leave that open. Yep, we'll throw some gold, some yellow ochre. And here's the yellow ochre that looked terrible when it was isolated by itself. But next to these other colors, it's happy. Of course, now I've totally contaminated it, so I'm going to add some, let's add some cad yellow deep to that, brighten that up. Do we not have enough red? I'm going to turn it over again. Yeah. I could. It's funny because I'm tempted to work on these other areas even before I've addressed this, but I want to get this overall, this thing painted overall. So I'm just flipping it until I'm going to be brave and paint it like an egg up here. Wow, I kind of like it like that. That's cool. You could hang this thing just about any way you want. All right, let's see if I can paint this without knocking it off. There's some red there. And a little bit of green. Nah, we'll go for the blue. I have been tempted to throw some purple in, but I really want to keep this limited. There's some blue there. So I hope you're at home going, well, gee, I could do that. You could. That's the point. That's the whole point. Go for it, guys. Oh, I need a little more gold. So the painting will tell you what it needs if you just listen. No shoulds here, just whatever happens. Do I put more red? Do I put more green? I mean, you could even, go like this and see where your brush lands and put it down. I want you to be that free with this. I'm going to lighten this up a little bit. I need some, there's some variations in these greens. That's happy. Lighten that up. Add some more blue. These are pretty much straight tube colors, and the reason they don't look like they're screaming is because I've put complements next to each other. There is some logic in here, but it's really not happening while I'm painting. Wow, that is a trip. Okay, so okay, here's the deal. So I can't see what I'm doing when I'm that close. And then in the studio, I would step back from my painting and I'd get the distance and I could see what's going on. Well, every once in a while, I can actually see, I don't like to look at myself in the monitor, but I can actually see myself in the monitor. And what that does is it gives me the distance on my painting. So it's the same thing from stepping back. In my studio, I actually have a mirror behind me. So here my canvas would be here. And probably about 10 feet behind me is a mirror. So all I have to do is just step back, like, turn around. I can be pretty lazy, so that I can get the distance and see what's really going on with my painting. So that's just what happened just a minute ago. I looked up and I said, whoa, something's happening here. And see, I had no idea what I was doing before I started. And through this entire process, I was not conscious of what I'm doing, but I'm creating something fun. Okay, we need a little more red on the edge here. Now the cool thing about this, and I don't want to, it gets tempting to put, just fill in these gaps with a little bit of red, but I don't want to do that because I don't want it to be contrived, and I don't want it to have symmetry. I just want it all over the place. Okay, so now what would happen is I would stand back and say, where do I need to punch things up? Where do I need to add? Where do I need to subtract? This reminds me of a cloisonne egg or something. It's very interesting. Interesting is what people say to me when they're not sure what to say about my paintings. They say, oh, that's, well, either they're silent or they say, oh, that's interesting. Okay, that didn't do anything. That was just, oh, there we go. There's a little bit dark there. So I'm adding a little bit of darks, lights in the darks and darks in the lights. Let's see, a little gold hair. Okay, so that's one way of working on this canvas. I'm actually going to do something, I'm actually going to stop. I'm going to work on another piece right now, but I'm going to set this aside and let it go because I think that I need to have some time away from it, and if I do too much to it, I'll wreck it. I need to leave it alone. So I'm just going to stop, and we're going to play. So that was a nice contemplative, kind of like a smooth jazz way of painting. Now, the next one that we'll do in the last bit of the show, if you could just imagine the William Tell Overture. Like, okay, if you don't know what that is, did you ever see The Lone Ranger? I mean, it's going to be fast, and I'm going to throw color down there, and it's going to have a totally different feel. Same color, different feel. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to set this one aside. Wow. Okay. I'm happy with that. I'm going to set it aside. And now, instead of, I have to clean this off a little bit. Instead of little tiny dabs, let's just really throw some paint down there and see what happens. Okay, so I got to get some more medium. So you got to hear that. Dun, 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 dun. Can you hear that? I hope so. Okay. All right, so let's just take some paint and, ta-dam, throw some stuff down, some more red here. So I'm hearing it in my head, right? You don't tell people the things you hear in your head. All right, let's throw some green right there. This is more gestural. Let's throw some blue. Ooh, that's nice. And what else do we need? We need to liven that up a little bit. We've got stuff that's already more contaminated from the start. Ooh. Now this is very loose Wow Man stuff. But always in the Wow Man comes out some really cool things. And what's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is that you don't like it. You throw it out. You can do another one. But I've had painting sessions that were just brilliantly so much fun, and the results were not. So when they talk about enjoying the process, that's really important. All right, let's do where before we didn't mix anything. This time we did. This time we will. So let's throw some stuff here. You know, it's interesting. I thought I was going to be able to get out of that dabble mode, but I'm not. That's just the mood I'm in. So we'll see. Ooh. Some blue over here. I should take a big brush and just really blend stuff together and see what happens. You got to be brave. Well, you don't have to, but it helps. It's kind of like a nice sky blue here. See, this is a great way, you need learning to play with your paint and see what it does. Actually, part of this acrylic is still a little bit wet, so it's resisting some of what I'm doing. Now, you can paint oil over acrylic, but you're not supposed to ever paint acrylic over oil because it will crack. Not a good thing. I like this whole sky thing. Maybe I could make a sky. Maybe I'm just going to blend some of these colors. Wipe my brush. This is a whole different world than the other one. And if you needed some referential, to make sense, this one's going to make a lot less sense than the other one. But we'll see what happens. Can you see what it does over the black? I'm wiping my brush a little bit. Let's go into the red and just really make a mess. One time I was just painting like this, and I stepped back, and there was the most incredible face that had, that I did not paint. I just thought I was, playing around with color, and this face was just amazing. It scared me. I mean, I was like, whoa, this guy's real. Let's see. A little more blue. This is more saturated, not so in your face with the colors. Ooh, let's try throwing a little green down here. When I do something like this, I love to use this as a base for a landscape, or not so much a portrait or a still life, but it's a great way to get experimental with the landscape. And sometimes it's good just like it is. So this is what's happening when you blend these colors together. And I know that I need to turn this so you can see the other side of that. It's got that very dreamy quality to it. Whoa, dude. Thing going on here. Okay, I want some more. I'm in a blue mode here. It was a blue day. It was definitely a blue day. That's lots of white. Oh, I can see this thing getting ready to flip. Need to squirt some more blue out. There it goes. Okay, so there's a big difference in the energy here. And I've also blended a lot of the color. So I'm going to put this down, and after I get it covered, I'm going to see where I might take it. Right now I can't tell what's happening other than it's all mushed together like somebody mixed all the food on my plate. And there's red in the middle. Okay. So now I can stand back and go, wow. Ooh, it's like a science fiction moonscape, or, oh, wow. How cool. Grandkids would love this. I love to talk with them about clouds and what they see in the clouds, and they do the same things in the paintings. Okay, so you've got, today we talked about being free, about taking it. It's like getting in the car, taking a trip, not having any idea where you're going, but just doing it. And that's what it was with our painting experience. So if you got something that's as wow man as this Martian landscape here, that was an abstract. Whoa. And then you've got this other side. Let's see if we can do this without knocking them both over. Okay, I'm going to get out of the way. So you've got something that's more decorative, but even that was nothing was contrived, nothing was planned. It was just putting the color down and seeing what happens. And this one's got some, I like that. It's way out there. I think, whoops, paint everywhere. I love the depth and how you can see this red in here. You could really beef this up. I think it's a good first statement. This one's almost done just like it is. So the point of the whole thing is, if you want to give, this is going to fall, I can see it right before the end of the show. I'm going to take it down. If you want to give your wall some soul, you don't have to have a plan. You just have to get your paints and your brushes and dive in. That's all it takes. Thanks for watching Give Your Wall Some Soul. I'm Shannon Grissom.